Okay, today we are going to do a little desert sunset. This painting was inspired by Anna from Anna's Adventures. I watch her channel, and she has some very, very beautiful sunsets that she captured in her video. I took a screenshot of a couple, and this is inspired by one of those. So let's get into it. We're just starting with some red tones. We're going to lay them down up in the sky area to begin with. Now we're just going to lay in the sky itself, the blues, and as we go down we'll blend it in with the red, and it'll get a little bit purpley, but that's just fine because we're looking for that anyway. Anybody that wants to paint or thinks they can't paint or anything like that, if you notice here in the beginning, things look very, very, I guess the right word would be juvenile, cartoonish, childish, very, very rudimentary. But as you go and you just add more and more and you get the details, but yeah, you have to start somewhere, and it usually looks kind of weird at first. We're just going to lay in some black with a little bit of burnt umber in it, and this is just going to be the foreground, the desert, if you will, because we're not seeing anything. There's no detail, there's no color, there's no nothing. We are focusing on the sun that has not yet come up far enough to light anything up, so we're just kind of making a shadowy dark tone, and we don't have to get it nice and neat. We can leave streaks in it because that adds texture. It adds a little bit of depth to it. Laying in some lighter red, just the same red, just kind of added a little bit of white, titanium white to it to pinken it up, and we're kind of going in with that at the moment. I'm not trained, I'm just self-taught. I kind of do what I do. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know if I'm using correct color theory. I don't know any of that. I know if you watch other people, they'll tell you they're using this color, that color, number 12, whatever. I used a brush that I see fit to doing what I need it to do. I do have my favorite ones, but yeah. So if you're looking for technical and in-depth instruction, I don't know what I'm doing, so I can't tell you what to do. I just kind of do. Now we're starting to add some reddy oranges in here, and then we're going to continue with the pinkish tones as we go up and we get farther from the light, from the sun that's coming up. It'll all come together eventually. The thing is especially this is acrylics, so you don't have to really freak out too much if things don't turn out quite exactly the way you want them to, because if you mess up, just paint over it. Let's just wait for it to dry and paint right over it. darker ones in there where they need to be. Now we're going to start laying in some oranges, getting away from the reddish and pinkish tones, and we're going to put in some orange into the mix here. I think this painting took just a little over 2 hours. So as you can see, I edited it down quite a bit, but yeah, all in all, this was a 2-hour ordeal. Not too bad, I guess. It is time consuming. Now we picked up some yellow, and we're going to get that nice bright yellow, and it really pops on the orange and the reds. You do have to be careful not to get it in the blue because, as we know, yellow and blue make green, and we don't want green if we can help it. Right now, again, like I said, as we go farther and farther away from where that sun's coming up, it's going to be more pinks and purples the farther up in the sky we go. And that's what I'm doing right here. Introducing some more of that sky color back in, blending it in, breaking it up a little bit. It's not so dense, so stiff. Go back in, let that yellow, that's bright. I added just a little bit of titanium white to it as well. Make it a little more tapered off into just the yellows and oranges at the edges, so you can kind of tell the origin of the light source, I guess you could say. Now we're just going to drop in some distant little hills and mountains, still in the shadows. The sun is still down behind, so it's only illuminating the bottoms and the edges of some of the clouds. As you can see up in the sky, off into the sides, it's more dark purples and blues. So yeah, now we're gonna tap in a couple little bushes here and there with some brush. Color, no nothing. We're just gonna pop them in because there's no light hitting them. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here. Tap in a little shrub over this side, and it's basically a tree also. It's just a little bit further in the distance to show a little bit of depth and volume to your painting. We'll tap that in here, and then we'll we'll go back and we'll finish these trees that are a little bit closer to us and give them some detail. This was a dagger brush. I use these brushes a lot. I have several different sizes of these dagger brushes. I really like them. They're very versatile. You can pull thin lines, and as you can see here, you use just that pointed tip and just tap away, depending on how hard and how far you push, what size leaves or things like that you produce. Yeah, I really like these. Are one of my favorite brushes to use. Basically, it just tap, 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 tap away. And I know some people that are like, oh, you spend a lot of time on that sunset and this and clouds and everything, and then now you're just going to paint over it. Yeah, that is what painting's all about. Layers and layers and layers. And yes, sometimes you do have to cover up some things, but that's just the way it goes. And it's a lot easier to cover things up than try to paint around other things. So you always start far away and work your way closer. And depending on what you're painting, it depends on what colors you use and what you have, because you have that atmosphere that turns things different colors and desaturates the color. And then as the closer you get things in the foreground, not in this case though, because we don't have any light, but yeah, as the closer things are to the viewer, the more saturated the color, the more deep and rich the colors are. And the farther away, the less colors there are. Yeah, we're just doing some little finishing touches. Getting some, I don't want to say highlights, but just a little bit of highlight. We're going to just drag that down through again, so it's not so flat and dull. I mean, you really can't see it, but you do notice it. It's one of those things that if you glance at a picture or a painting, you kind of see it, but if you actually look at it, you go, oh, you start noticing the little things. So that's why we put in the little things. Yeah, we're wrapping this one up. We're all but done. I think it turned out pretty good. I enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And come on back and I'll hopefully have some more coming up soon. I'm in the mood to paint, so you just never know.